Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Gelvin Valley. Looking out across the valley here as we are close to wrapping up our barley harvest for the year. Fired up our combine once more. Oh, and there's that pesky bar at the top of the page that I just love. Messes up with the graphics. Let's get him hired. And let's get down to our tractor, get him driving, and we'll let him know who he is to, take care of. Oh dear, dear, dear. I guess the combine isn't close to full, so I thought he would head down over here first, though, before... Actually, we got one other tractor over here. We could bring him in and get started going around the edges. May as well get that going as we go by the gurgling stream running down the middle of beautiful Gelvin Valley. You know, I could come in there, but why not use the wider entrance? Stream broadens out a little bit. Hopefully it never floods. Don't know why it would do that, you know. Yeah, it's probably going to take its sweet time finishing up just that little tiny dab that's left. But it is what it is. Alright, let's head on around the field. Cut in our windrow. It's actually still fairly early in the morning when we'll be completing our harvest, which hopefully gives us a decent day to come bale the hay, pick up all the bales, and take care of that part before nightfall. So we can hopefully get everything replanted and keep this thing going that we have on here. I do need to look into some alternative sources of income. You know, I see the big negative number. Even as I wait for... I've got a bunch of barley sitting in inventory, but I'd really like to sell at a more opportune time than at the moment. Well, actually, let me check it out. Let's just take a pause. Oops, went past. Let me sneak over here and see what it's doing in pheasant. Yeah, still at 182. It is coming up, but we had so much of it sold already. It depressed the price, and now wheat is where we wish the barley was. And I almost think this is the second year in a row that we're doing barley, and that probably is one of my mistakes, you know, where I should maybe alternate it a bit more, or just not have the whole farm dedicated to one single commodity, kind of like I did. But the trouble is, if I have anything other than wheat or barley, like if I go to canola, I don't get the straw, so I don't get that extra source of income. And if I go to corn or try to do a little bit of silage, it's different kinds of machinery, so it's going to cost more to get in. So kind of need to strategize a little bit. And I've been wondering if I need to get into animals, get that going. Then I gotta mix their feed. It's gonna take additional machinery that I don't currently have, can't afford. So it's what I really like kind of about this scenario is being in debt and not having a lot of options. I mean, this is probably exactly how it feels to a real life farmer at times, you know, where you have, oh, looks like we're done over there, but where your options are limited is what you can do, and even more limited in some ways than what we are in game here. Alright, let me get this over here. I'm just going to peel that there. Okay, now let me get him unloaded. I presume I can fit. Will this hold another 1,800? And then I can send him off to store more. Let me just see if I can hold everything else in here. This is going to leave one field left to go. So we're in a good position. Oh, that was easy. That was easy peasy. Okay, that other field, I think, let me get him a different course, and I'll just trick him into going to the other field, or see if I can do that. What field number is that? Field number 2. Number 2, Combi 2 storage. I'm just going to hold that open, and let's come down here. I want to see start and end everything. Here we go. Yeah, I was on the left side. So let me try to get close to that. Not close enough. Yeah, good deal. All right, so he's going to end up over in the field where we want him to be. So, but in the meantime, we're going to have to shuttle our combine over. Oh, which is always a trick. Actually, you know what? He's going to need, oh, for goodness sakes. Rambunctious driver. You know, it's kind of nice that he beeps like that. I guess it lets me know that he's having difficulty. Alright, let's turn on our beacons. Head on up the road. Don't know if I can meet the corner. Get our speed up as we head on over here. Boy, I'd sure love to get rid of that bar at the top of the screen. It really annoys the stuffing out of me. I have no idea why it's there. Shouldn't be, but it is. Oh, well, a little troublesome to get across the bridge. Probably incurred a little damage, but oh well. It's rented. Okay, there would be an area to get in the field here, but it isn't wide enough for this. I already pushed my luck as it is, trying to jam the machinery through holes it wasn't intended to go through, so we'll just take the long route, come up and around. Reality is we gotta give it some more fuel anyhow and service the thing as we get up here. But one more combine. And I've kind of thought that after this harvest, I'm going to sell the combine, and maybe in the future I'll use the same one again, but I'll probably just rent instead of buying it and owning it. I really don't own machinery hardly anymore. I own the 2 tractors, but I've been thinking, you know, there's some damage to this combine. I'm going to have to pay to fix it. Oh yeah, it looks like he kind of went down there. I guess the course doesn't come all the way up here. Maybe there are even some other combines there. I don't know if this one had another one available in the same pack. Another other combines available. I mean hillside ones, you know, that can handle these hills. Definitely wouldn't be a place you would take a conventional combine that has no hillside cutting capability. Alright, we're rounding the top up here. There's another entrance. Wes was very generous on the number of entrances to fields. but less generous on wide entrances. Most fields seem to have more than one entrance, and one of them is a wide, so we're going to the wide one over here. Final field, final bit of cutting. Probably take this episode and the next of these to finish her all up, so. Alright, I think I'm going to sneak right in here to get the gate open anyhow, and then I'm going to, just in time to get out of the way of the car. Set the brake, and you're okay there. Where are you? 37. Okay, I think I need to turn around and head on up the hill. I filled this tank up back when I didn't have money to fill it up, and I've been living off the fuel in it ever since. It says I'm down to 874 liters, so at some point I need to fill this up. That's a difference between earlier versions where if you had a fuel wagon, it had everlasting fuel in it. It's just, this one here actually will empty. Alright, let me try to get the tank down here and get it close somewhat to fill the combine up. There we go. You know, there were some really creative mods developed over time dealing with the machinery, but I know it's an area where a lot more work could really be done. I don't know about modding work. Maybe with modding. I mean, it's an area that could be developed further even with modding, but definitely in the game mechanics. You know, we're right on the cusp as I, do this episode of Farm Sim 25 coming out, and time will tell what all features they've added to the new version of the game. But one area I think they could really spend some development time in is the repair and maintenance of your equipment. And I don't know, I've heard before people say that part of the reason they don't have anything with repairs and maintenance is that the brands told them not to. They don't want to see their fancy combine, whatever out there, needing repairs or breaking down. But I mean, it's just a reality, and I don't care what brand you have. I mean, there's always going to be repairs, maintenance, and so forth, that you got to deal with. But you just haven't seen it really in game. I mean, you do have a little wear and tear now. I think that feature's here, but full-on repair, I don't know. I just think it'd be an interesting feature to add, that you could take them to the shop and have to maybe even diagnose, what some of the problems are, beyond more than just like doing an oil change or that kind of thing. Oh, I accidentally hit. I think I did accidentally hit. All right, you're going down. Let me turn you on. There we go. And let's get into the field before I leave a windrow out of it. Higher. Stuttered a little bit. Did I do any errors? Okay, some kind of ray crashed. Alright. Okay, I don't know why you're climbing the hill for only a partial windrow, but okay. Love these hills in here. Alright, so this is gonna hopefully now figure out his way around. Hopefully won't interfere here until he gets full. Is he trying to climb? Yeah, we'll see. I may need to come help him out. But for the moment, I'll come back over here to continue getting our field windrowed, so we're ready to bale it, which we're going to be commencing as soon as we are done with harvest. Fire up my good old GPS. Up here and see what angle I need to do that. actually might be a pretty decent angle to. Let me turn it over just slightly different. There we go. That's gonna work. Oop. We looked at prices a little bit earlier, and I know I've talked about this before, but I now finally have started doing some substantive work on it and making a mod that tracks prices. And it's probably only going to tell a certain kind of story. It's going to show a few wiggles, so maybe it'll show a few exciting things on that as to how prices move. But really, I mean, I can go straight to the function that alters prices in game. I sort of see how the algorithm is working. So all it's going to be doing is, if I do it right, is plotting points based on, what this function does. Our tractor's having trouble over there. When course play doesn't work, it doesn't work. Alright, you have an affinity for the fence, it appears. How offensive. Drive behind combine, but you ain't driving anywhere. Okay, maybe you're trying to figure out, maybe the combine is trying to figure out what it is doing. It's kind of a dirt berm. Oh yeah, we kind of gotta help it. Really, it just doesn't pay to leave your combine alone when he's working on the outer edge. And maybe, and again, if there are people from the UK that are watching this, maybe you'll tell me that because I'm pretty sure I've seen this on videos I've watched online of UK agriculture. Don't you all have like a verge on the edge of the field? Where we're farming right up to the edge. I mean, there's kind of a verge in here, I guess, but maybe there's more that would be there in reality than what I'm allowing for here. I just actually, this was already, this was already an existing arable field. I know a number of these I had come in with the plow, so I could farm them with arable, but this wasn't one of them. Now that I think of it, I don't think I had to put this one in. I don't think any of them. But at least with a verge, on this side of the field, we're able to have our driver come over here to offload the combine here, whereas it's hard for him to do it over there. There's just not as much room. Who knows? We'll see if he can figure that out. It's only the next field over. Yeah, he's probably going to be running right into the fence again. Course play being what it is, but that's all right. We'll help him figure it out. But yeah, I'm starting to work on a mod for that and for tracking prices and that kind of thing, just to see what it looks like. And actually, let me just hop out of game real quick. There's this is a chart, I'd almost forgotten that I had pulled up. I don't know what political calculations mean, but it's a long period of time for the price of wheat per bushel. And so it shows wiggles over time. And of course, the one that I make in game is not going to show anywhere near this kind of length of time, if you will, where it starts in the 1800s till now. I mean, probably if I could have 10 days of history or whatever, that'd be plenty, just to see where it's gone. But I've always been fascinated by chart details. I mean, it tells a story after the fact, and maybe there are people smart enough they know before the fact, You know, when certain world events happen, I'm just looking at it here and wondering in my mind. You know, this is right after 1865, maybe the final year right after the Civil War, like in the U.S. And there's probably other wars in here too, but the prominent ones, the Great War, World War I, would have happened right in here, 15 to 20. Don't remember exactly when that was done, so I guess it makes sense the price of wheat would spike. You know, happened again in World War II. You know, unfortunately, wars have this tendency when there's a scrap going on somewhere in the world. You know, it tends, farming generally can't take place when there's a war going on, so it tends to increase prices here, or inflation happening, you know, like happened in the 70s. You know, this ramped up. Farmers really were making pretty good money during the 70s, even with grain. And I think what it was is the prices had gotten up, but the costs of some of their inputs were still pretty low, whether it was machinery or whatever, and that has long since caught up. You know, and so you just look at some of these other, you can see the hallmarks of war on there. The Cold War came through the 90s. I remember living in this era, you know, in some of these things. Anyway, it's just kind of interesting to me to see this, and I'm kind of curious if we can create something similar in game. And it isn't going to look quite like this. I haven't determined. You can overlay something like this grid, and put it kind of in your screen, and then you probably could plot points on it. And maybe that's what I would do is put at least a white background, and maybe, but see that the pricing is going to be different for every single commodity. So knowing how to put it here, knowing how to lay all this out, there's some unknowns for me to try to figure that out. And I know there's probably an easy way to do it for some sharp programmer, but sharp I am not. So, but anyway, that's kind of in the mix. I've started some of the Lua code. It's gonna just take a while. So I have no idea when I'll get all that done. But I'll chip away on it as I can. Get turned around. Looks like our courseplay guy knew to stop over there, so hopefully our combine actually, well, let's just see here. Combine's making it up and around. That's good. Always helpful once we have the outer round done, so we have a little bit more room to maneuver. And this field is particularly nasty. I know last time I was belly aching about it. I had to drive the combine back over to here because he was fussing in the fence, or maybe that was another field, I don't recall. Just always, no matter what I've put on those fences, they invariably, meaning the hired help, want to stick their nose through it. Turn around. Actually, that's probably decent for a windrow right there. I'll just start it over here so I don't interfere too much with it. If I can do a bunch of baling and sell the bales, I'm hoping it'll put a sizable dent in my negative cash. The bank has been very patient. They've granted me that line of credit, but at some point they are obviously going to want to be paid. Everybody likes to be paid. And let me see. I think, yeah, that's just a little smidge. I'll forego doing anything with it. And maybe, you know what? I'm gonna have to just park it here, I think, because I'm gonna be driving through here. All right, let me head back out to the harvest field. Okay, maybe we can fit more in him. Where'd my combine go? Oh, there it is, way up top. You know what? I think it stopped. Wow. Speaking of fences, I forgot we had one here at the top of the hill. Oh my goodness. But see, the thing I don't understand is how it's able to shove through. How does it shove it through there? Because... oh my word. And then it just refuses. I just don't know how it gets there to begin with. And it must be... oh my word, this is embarrassing. Alright, so I'm going to have to, we'll call not the episode here. I'll just stop it, terminate it for the moment, and I'll be back as soon as I fix this. Alright, we're back in here. That was a little hassle getting it fixed. I just ended up doing it in the save game file. We'll try to help our fella make the turn here. And that should do it, I hope. Let's hire this person. Send them on around. Yeah, now it's gonna make a... you know what? Let me smooth this off just a little bit. And we will back up and take the field from the corner. It'll have this double benefit of... see, I didn't even aggressively go into this corner. It'll have the double benefit of leaving a little more space, and when he comes up the other way. What a pain in the padoodle. I even tried to put some extra... I guess it just didn't work. You know, in the editor, you can search and replace parts. And I know I added some parts to the frames of the fence, and it still keeps poking the header through. So it's kind of a booger for that. We are out of level here, you'll notice, because it's at max level. Very steep hills. Let me see, is our tractor... okay. Oh yeah, I had to restart the game, so of course I gotta start him again. Let me see here. Does he know who he's looking for? It's alright, you can go up there. There should be room now for him to do that. Well, we're almost out of time for the half hour I typically try to make these. I didn't even get to the topic I wanted to talk about. But, you know, really, it's maybe not something I could talk about for half an hour anyways. And the simple note I scrawled on my worksheet here says text versus voice versus anonymity. You know, when I got out of college, we didn't have the fancy cell phones, you know, that we have now, so there was no such thing as sending a text. It just flat out didn't exist. And so we didn't have a choice, and phones were very much, you know, something we were all used to using. Even the phones are different now. You know, in my work office, I don't even have a phone on my desk. It's all done through the computer now. Are you gonna... why would you just take a... why would you just dive towards the combine, idiot? Alright, maybe that's close enough. Where are you going? Are you still on this? Nope, he doesn't have a... course play. Is this the... I think this is the one he's got to go on. Go. Or not. Hey, you do you. Oh yeah, they always want to see the second nubbin for some reason. Alright, well, maybe that's good enough to help him get out of the field. I want to stay right by the combine in case he... You know, I don't know why the combine does stuff like this when you want him just to go round and round, do a simple job, cut the field, square corners, easy peasy. So anyway, maybe it's this something I could start here. We could talk about in another episode. You know, we didn't have the option to text, but oh, there's the bell. One observation I've had of, you know, as I work in an office environment in accounting, and a lot of times the next generation down, I guess it'd be millennials maybe, they're not as comfortable getting on the phone and talking to people. Not always. And maybe some of it is practice, you know. A lot of times, you know, in the environment, you know, that I'm in, we're getting lots of information from our clients, you know, with which to, you know, audit them or, you know, prepare their tax returns. And so there's lots of back and forth we gotta do to get what we need to do those services. And sometimes, you know, clients are invariably not very good at getting us everything we want, so we got to call there, or there's follow-up questions. We get the info and something doesn't make sense, so we got to follow up. And you know, a lot of times we'll ask our staff to help with this, and invariably a lot of times they want to either send an email or they want to send a text, and those can work. But sometimes it is way more efficient just to get on the phone and to talk, you know, and you know, talk through whatever needs to be dealt with versus typing up an email that is detailed enough, you know, that explains what the question is or what is needed or all those kinds of things. So let me just get ready to take a picture here in game. So anyway, the bell is rung. Maybe we can cover the ad in another session, and maybe you all have some ideas of why the ad dynamic is, why sometimes it feels more comfortable to talk, or to text versus getting on the phone. I know there's awkward conversations and whatnot, but I don't know, sometimes it's just way easier to talk to someone rather than sending a text, which takes more time. Anyway, thank you so much for coming along on this episode. You all have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.